art depending on the level of consciousness of the creator?
That's a very interesting question. Absolutely. We create who we are. We create what we are. And the artwork that we create, as well as the life we create, is who we are. And so if you're working from a low vibration, a medium vibration, a high vibration, not to be any judgmental in where you are, because we've all been in one of these other places, at different times in our lives, so or in our past lives, etc. So being arrogant or better than judgmental, it's really it's really fool's play. But yes, you create your life, you create your artwork. Your artwork is the same way your life affects other people. They will interact with you. My art does, and part of the reason that I create such large pieces is because what I'm doing is trying to create an environment. I want you to have the painting and a sofa and a glass of wine, and that is what this experience is right now. And so by making them larger, it's almost like you're living in them as opposed to with them. And so if you have a piece, you better love it. Or if you're drawn to it for a reason, it's possible that your higher self wants the painting to help release something in you so that you will come up to that level. It's an interesting thing, but yeah, I had a curator. I've had a couple other shows this year, 2 in Long Beach at Affinity Gallery, and a fantastic one at Bergamot Station at one of the best galleries in the country, Shoshana Wayne, and a big piece. But the curator from Affinity Gallery had said to me, can you make something smaller? And I was like, well, I can make something small, but then it's small, in the sense of you're not getting this effect from it. I mean, you love my paintings. Thank you for showing me. You think it's fantastic. You sit here, and it's it was the anchor of the entire show, because it was a group show. Everybody loved it. I was a star. I'm so fabulous and fantastic. Thank you very much.
Right.
But it's not that it's a big piece that makes me a star. It's that you're getting an effect from it, and you can only get that effect by it being an environment.
Wow.
Because you go into the artwork. The vibration surrounds you. It wraps around you like a blanket.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And that triggers a story about a friend of mine who's an artist, and he is extremely good at what he's doing, but because there haven't been any sales of his larger pieces, he started scaling down and scaling down and scaling down until he's just playing into a very tiny field because he can sell them. So there may be a message in there about, doing things for the sake of money and others' approval, and doing things because you're freeing yourself into the greater cosmos and pulling in the messages that are there to be shared with everybody freely. Yes.
Luckily I'm very blessed that I've sold a couple of large paintings this year, recently actually. And let's see, a 6-foot painting went up to San Jose. There's already like a 9-foot painting up in San Francisco. I just sold down to San Diego, this is all California, a large painting. It's bigger than 6 feet. So I'm very blessed in that, but honestly, big paintings do not go fast. It's very true.
Right.
But a small one, it's not the same. It's not the same vibration, that you're getting.
Yes.
I always joke with some people around me, my studio assistant for one, and a couple of others, that after I finish the series of large paintings, or once I get tired of doing all this big stuff, I'm going to be doing postage stamps, or postcard size will be as big as I can manage, because maybe it will be, the pendulum will swing. But right now, what's that?
Look at the Mona Lisa. It seems to be attracting more people than ever that just go across the country just to see that little teeny tiny smiling woman looking back at you, and that's not a very big painting, but over the ages, it has just, there has to be some, some kind of element of consciousness that gets concentrated or focused, whether it's big or small.
Right. Well, it's a small painting that has a big, I don't want to say a big ego, but a big spirit. It has grown and grown and grown and grown. It's fantastic. And if you've ever seen it live, there really is some magic to it.
Yes, I really do like what you're saying. It makes sense now for me to understand why the canvases are so large. That it's a literal trip into another dimension or other dimensions. Excuse me.
Yeah,
and you're creating a larger portal for more people to enjoy and share and travel into it, and opening new worlds. Well, it's like Star Trek.
Yes, it is. I'm painting Star Trek. I'm painting other worlds.
There you go. Now, on your essences, I'm sorry to jump around like this, but I do want to ask you, how do you make these essences? Where do they come from? What water do you use, and how do you bless them, and where do they travel? I mean, how does it work?
It's not a real simple answer.
Okay.
But I have been I've been sort of an alchemist for many lifetimes, and early on in this life, I was working designing remedies and also health protocols with a natural doctor when I was still a teenager.
Wow.
And so I really got a sort of nuts and bolts training on how to deal with people in a spiritual sense of what corrects their imbalance, what is going to correct it today, and what is going to correct it tomorrow.
Wow. Because, yes, it's an individual and unique process, and it shifts in every moment.
Exactly. And, if you study homeopathics, if you study remedies, there is only so much that you can actually put into one bottle, and I've broken every rule.
Really?
Every rule that there is broken, and they work. Because of a number of things, I'm working spiritually and psychically, whereas a lot of people are just working from what the book says to do. And I've had a lot of insubstantial help and guidance in my work from the very, very beginning, and it's never led me wrong. And so what happens is, we talked about the radiation cleanse, for example. So if I clear this radiation from you today, a standard homeopathic is only going to work at a specific strength for a certain amount of time. If you're taking it for a headache, if you're taking a homeopathic for, whatever it is, it's going to work, and then that potency, that strength is not going to work for you again, and the homeopath needs to give you a different potency. Okay, and so you will go up. The idea of putting more than one potency into one bottle is there are traditional forms of it and there are modern forms of it, and the modern forms of it have they don't know exactly the effects of it because it hasn't been around for more than 20 years. In the more modern form of potentizing, and so what I've been able to achieve is a remedy that if you have the situation that the remedy is for example, radiation, which we will all always have. I mean, we know that because, Japan disaster aside, cell phones and just the cell phone towers, even if you don't have a cell phone, you're being radiated by the people next to you. You are, the electromagnetic fields, you have Wi-Fi. So I go to the LA County Museum of Art. It now has Wi-Fi. You can be anywhere on this huge campus with your computer, and it's free internet service. But you may not realize, you go to Starbucks, it's the same thing. These rays or vibrations or radiations or whatever you want to call them are affecting you and are going through you everywhere, which is why when you go out into the forest where there's no electricity, no any of this stuff, you begin to feel very different.
Roy.
Yes.
We're just about out of time, and I wanted to, we can continue this in our future conversations, but I just want to say I'm sold. I am online at your site, www.blesstheworld.com, and I will order those today, as I fully support what you're doing. I love you dearly, and I think that you're just a treasure on the planet today. And before we go, would you let people know what your website is and where you'll be at tonight in your grand opening of your artwork?
So my website is royanthonyshabla.com, SHABLA, and I will be at Mari's Wine Bar, which does have a website, MARISWINEBAR.com, and this is sponsored in association with the Downey Arts Coalition, which is downeyarts.org. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. It's been a wonderful hour.
It was my pleasure. It is my pleasure, and you will come back.
Thank you so much.
Have a great opening. Spending lots of love and blessings.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.